But our lead this hour coming from the ATL. That's right, we're talking Falcon football. Now, why is that? Because we are masochists, right? We're masochists. Well, plus we believe in going where the news of the day takes us. And this is an interesting oddball story from the NFL. We are contractually obligated to go where the news of the day takes us. And so this is a doozy of a story out of Georgia. If you've not heard, maybe not, it has been whispered in hushed tones that the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons all season has decided to exit stage left. Now, Coach Arthur Smith has made a quarterback change. That was announced this week, that the rookie out of Cincinnati, Desmond Ridder, will be usurping Marcus Mariota as the starter. Now, the head coach announcing that Mariota was placed on injured reserve, so he's not going to play again. He's apparently got a knee problem that nobody knew about until all of a sudden, ta-da! So he's not going to be able to play the next 4 games. That ends his season, unless you think Atlanta's going to make the postseason. Then, that's when the story took an odd plot twist and became a Shakespearean drama. Because this reporting out of Atlanta is, when informed by the coaching staff that he had been benched and then put on injured reserve, Marcus Mariota decided to, quote, step away from his job with the Atlanta Falcons and has taken what is believed to be an unexcused absence from the team. So let us discuss the question, rather obvious question here, based on the fact that he's not with the team. He stepped away from the team, even though he's still being paid and he's supposed to do the rehab and all that. Did Marcus Mariota quit on the Atlanta Falcons? So based on the evidence we have, I am nodding my head yes. That is the definition of quitting. So I'm going yes. I've got Bruised, Warped, and Cookie. And we will lock all of these things together, and we are going to make a nice omelet. A nice big breakfast omelet with some grits on the side. So number one. Based on the facts that have been presented to us, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. We do nod our head yes, as we said. Marcus Mariota, it would appear, based on this, is having a hard time dealing with the reality of his professional career. A public conniption fit would be the proper terminology to what's going on here. He is frustrated. He is flustered by what has happened, the lackluster Falcon offense. He's annoyed that he is being pigeonholed as the fall guy. And Marcus Mariota is taking his ball and going home. Atlanta. And I have no skin in the game on the Falcons at all, but they put the quarterback on the injured list. They're calling it a, quote, chronic knee injury. Now, back in the old days, I used to spend some time around NFL locker rooms. Doesn't every player in the NFL have a chronic knee injury? If you play football long enough, you're going to have a chronic knee injury. You don't get out of it unless you're a kicker or a punter. You don't get out of it without that. So that report, chronic knee injury, that is what our friend Jay Scoop would call bullpucky. Is what that is. We believe that Marcus Mariota is suffering from a bruise, as in a bruised ego. And that is why it appears he has gone AWOL, which is, of course, if you're in the military, you know, absence without leave, AWOL. And he has gone absent, and he does not have permission. Now, some are trying to spin this story saying it's not what it is. It's not what's being presented here, that Mariota's not like that. And that is true. He has never been that guy. He's never been that guy. They're saying he's just spending time with his significant other and their newborn child that just popped into the world here recently. And so now we believe that if that was the case, that this is just a simple misunderstanding, that Mariota, he's just hanging out. He just had a kid. He wanted to have some downtime. He can't play anyway. If that was the case, the Falcons would have immediately put the kibosh on the story, and they would have contacted their useful idiots in the media and said, hey, listen, this is not the way it's being perceived, and everything's good. It's all kosher. But to my knowledge, no effort has been made whatsoever to put the toothpaste back in the tube, if you will, which leads me to believe that this was completely unexcused, that Mariota's having a tough time dealing with his situation. And so he's decided, listen, I can't play. I'm hurt. I don't want to be around you losers in Atlanta. I'm out of here. I'll go hang out with my new kid who's not a loser, like you idiots. All right, now, page 2. Why have things not worked out for Mariota in Atlanta? The Falcons were supposed to be bad, and they've lived up to that. They still have a mathematical chance of getting to the playoffs because they're in the proper location, the right division. But it is a performance-based situation. And the only sport we know of where subpar is considered good is golf. And unfortunately, this is not professional golf. Marcus Mariota was unsatisfactory when given the opportunity. He was inadequate the vast majority of the time. And the Falcons offense, and we saw them in some games, saw them against Carolina in a nationally televised game on a Thursday night. The offense is warped. And we talked earlier about Mike Leach and the air raid offense. Atlanta's offense is called the Goosebumps offense. It's so cold you get goosebumps watching the Falcons offense there. They're ranked 31st in a 32-team league in passing offense. The only team that's worse than them, the leather helmet-wearing Chicago Bears, the monsters of the Midway, who also believe it is taboo to throw the pass down the field, the ball down the field. Marcus Mariota, the forward pass is not his friend. He's the 21st ranked quarterback in the NFL, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. This season was an opportunity. It was an opportunity at redemption. And he had been a backup with the Raiders, had been in Tennessee, had been the starter, went to the Raiders, was the backup for a couple of years. And instead of redemption, a career renaissance, a rebirth, a revival, instead it has been confirmation that he's just a baseline guy. He's simply not good enough to be a starter. There's no happy ending here. This is not Geno Smith 2.0, where Geno Smith was also supposed to suck. And Seattle has fallen apart here recently, but they're still looking like they're going to be around a 500. You can't be 500 in the NFL, but they'll be within a game of 500 by the time it ends. But there's no storybook ending, no happy Disney ending here. Not in the dirty South, not for Marcus Mariota. Now, final point. So, here we are at a fork in the road. At the moment, the story is that he's gone AWOL. He has not been approved. Marcus Mariota, he's left the team. And that's where the story is at this moment. So what does the future hold? So I'm looking at the forecast. It's foggy. It's such fog here, you can cut it with a machete. And if you look at the fortune cookie, and you open up that cookie, the fortune cookie, and it says the world may be your oyster, but it doesn't mean you'll get its pearl. And that's the issue. Like, this was an oyster opportunity. The world is your oyster in Atlanta, and there's no pearl. Mariota is 29 years old. He's in the middle of his athletic prime. His NFL career can be summed up as a Jag. Not a Jacksonville Jag, just a guy. It started out with much fanfare and a very famous mispronunciation by Roger the Dodger, the commissioner of the NFL. Remember that? He mispronounced Marcus Mariota's name there. Yeah, butchered it. It's not gone as planned. He started 74 games. He's under 500. And his overall stat profile is not terrible, but it's also misleading. That he got off to a decent start, and a lot of empty numbers have transpired over the course of his career. He was a stat bandito in Nashville early on, first 2 years in a Titan uniform. Mariota had 45 touchdowns and 19 interceptions. In all the years since those first 2 years, Mariota has 47 touchdowns, 35 interceptions. So he's almost 1 for 1 in touchdowns and interceptions. Now, he will get a job somewhere because he's got experience. He's going to have to clear up this little snafu and the perception that he walked away from the Falcons, but I'm sure they'll use the kid card, and the kid card is almost undefeated